For these people, the late Russian Tsar was not just an emperor. He's a distant relative slaughtered by the Bolsheviks. The head of the Romanov house wants to clear her ancestor's name. Maria Romanov, the late Tsar's closest living relative, has appealed to Russia's Prosecutor General to rehabilitate her royal relatives. The prosecution sees no ground for that. Historian Alexander Zakatov, representing the Romanov house in Russia, says Russia's imperial family were victims of political repression.
Any repression is always lawless, and that is grounds for rehabilitation. Even if we imagine that there was a trial and it proved that Nicholas II committed crimes, then in that case he would not be subject to rehabilitation. But there was no trial and nothing was proved.
After the February Revolution, the Tsar and his family were first moved to Siberia and later to the Urals. They were held in the Ipatiev house in the center of Yekaterinburg, surrounded by a tall fence. No one was allowed inside without special permission from the commandant. The royal family lived here until July 17, 1918. Here they were killed. On that night, members of the royal family were taken into the basement. And this is the moment pictured by the artist. The former Tsar, his wife, their 5 children and 4 retainers were told they were enemies of the people and executed, shot dead in cold blood. Their bodies were piled into a truck and later dumped into a coal pit in a forest nearby. 89 years after the slaughter, many ask, was the execution political repression or simply murder? The prosecution argues there was no trial and no official verdict. According to law, it cannot be treated as political repression. But the Romanovs have no intention of giving up.
There was a verdict. There was a telegram sent from Yekaterinburg to Moscow. The order was given by Vladimir Lenin. Besides, the Ural Soviets were a legal power at the time and carried out the execution of Tsar Nicholas II and his family. The head of the Russian government, Yakov Sverdlov, wrote that Nikolai Romanov needs to understand and know that he was arrested by the Soviet authorities.
The case is difficult. Had it been an ordinary family, clearing their name would have been a lot simpler. Other historians argue whether any rehabilitation is needed at all.
There was no trial and no verdict. If we take the French Revolution, then they had some sort of a trial before they executed Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. Although the children were not killed, here they mercilessly murdered children. That's why I don't understand whom we need to rehabilitate and what for. After all, the Church has already named them saints and martyrs. There must be some commercial interest in all this.
The Romanovs say there's none.
The fact that the Tsar's family is not rehabilitated means that the state approves of their execution, because the decisions made by the Central Committee at the time are valid to this day. How can we say that the terror is over in Russia if its victims are not rehabilitated?
The house where the family was executed is long gone. It was demolished in 1979 and a church was built instead. The Romanovs say they want to restore the truth and close another page of Russia's turbulent history. It's yet to be seen whether they'll succeed. Karina Melikan, Russia Today, Moscow.